That is Sammy J with A Dozen Roses right here on Early Edition with it at 5:31 PI, bringing Pacific people together. Francis Tipene is the Managing Director, Chief Operations Officer, and the Funeral Director of Tipene Funerals. The father of five hails from Pawiringa in Northland. Francis Tipene is perhaps better known to most of us as the star of the hit TV series The Casketeers. We're thrilled and privileged to have Francis Tipene make time to have a chat with us this morning. Ka nui te mihi kia koe, e rangatira, and thank you so much for making time for us this morning.
Oh, Ete, thank you. Thank you for having me in Talofa, and kia ora koutou katoa to everyone listening.
And should I say malo elele also?
Ono, yes, malo lele. Thank you very much. Yes, half Tongan, half Māori. Appreciate that.
Now, let's go back to the beginning. Did you ever think, growing up in Northland, that you would be a funeral director?
No, short answer, no. I never thought I would. I was always fascinated with death, or not so much death, but with ceremony. I loved everything about funerals and the coming together of people, the unity. But never really thought, Ete, that we would be, that I'd be doing this now, here and now. So it's something to sort of wake up every morning and think, oh wow, we're doing what we love, but also, another challenge is presented each and every day with a different family that loses someone they love.
Well, you're doing what we love, which is sharing your work, your mahi, with us on television. How did the Casketeers come about?
Yeah. Well, we were a beginning. We were a small little funeral home with my wife, myself, and one other. Together, we were working, and we had a friend in the television industry, and her name was Annabelle Lee Mather, or is Annabelle Lee Mather, and she approached my wife a few times. She pitched her with a couple of ideas for a television show about funerals and the life behind the scenes and what we get up to, and I sort of said no. This was going on maybe 8 years ago, and we sort of said no. And then she asked the following year again, said no. And asked the following year, said no. And then my wife sort of convinced me to get into it and say, come on, let's do it. And at the time, I think it was right. There were social media was here. People were streaming funerals. There were pictures of loved ones online, and a little bit more on TV. So I thought maybe we're ready for it, and I said yes, and took the plunge into exposing ourselves, our private life, and our business to the motu, but also to the world. Yeah.
What was it that made you say no those first couple of years?
I didn't think that everyone was ready for this, and this is my own opinion. I could be wrong, but I didn't think that funerals on television was ready. At that time, I thought it's too early, and then along came social media with people live streaming tangi and funerals, and I thought, yeah, it's getting out there a little bit more now. And so that's a couple of years later is when I said yes, but that was the main reason. I couldn't fathom the thought of someone's loved one all over the TV, and but at the same time I never knew how they were going to make the show. I never knew they were going to blur the images of loved ones, and so I just automatically said no. That's the
You,
main reason.
you are absolutely right. If someone pitched me the idea of a program about funerals, my immediate reaction would be no. I don't really want to see that. But I think what makes the Casketeers are the people behind the scenes, and it's those all other stories that run underneath the funeral. Of course, there is the funeral, but the relationship between you and Kaiora, you and your staff, I've just loved that. And you as a person, we've come to know and we've come to love you, all of your idiosyncrasies. Were you a bit worried about exposing too much of yourself initially?
Ab- Absolutely, absolutely, and we watched the show after it's all been aired, so we go back and have a look at it, and it's recorded. It's hard for us. It's like, I mean, you've been on TV. I'm not sure if you feel this. It's very hard to watch yourself, and I that's how I find it. And so
I agree.
Yeah, it is. It's so hard. And so when people see me in the streets now, they look at you and they know you a lot more than I'd like. They look at you and go, "Oh, you're so funny," or the little laughs. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to people coming up with a somber face, putting their hand out, shaking, saying, "Oh, thank you for this," and people will go, "Oh my gosh, you're so funny," all that sort of thing, which is very normal, and you must be used to that too. But for me, yeah, I didn't really think about that, so that's the only part about it, and but hey, it is what it is, and we just move forward, and we hope everyone, enjoys it, and yeah, but. The answer to your question was yeah, I was a little bit scared about but yeah, my little habits with cleanliness and this sort of thing, and so yeah.
Yeah, no, no, no. I totally get it. I totally agree with you. How much of a say do you have in terms of the direction and the telling of the stories? Are you able to say, well, maybe not that, or it's part of the deal that you just have to do what you do, and the film crew do what they do, and then whatever comes up at the end is what it is?
Correct, exactly. I don't have any say in it. The main discussions are had with the production company and the family, so they talk about what they're happy to be shown on the TV, what they don't want shown. But as for me, they sort of have a free reign of whatever it is they want to show. But I don't mind that. I mean, because I'd rather the family funerals be so sensitive and so beautiful than us, because they've given they've given the most vulnerable, precious time of their lives with the funeral to be televised, and so I want to make sure that they're pleased with everything, that it's done so respectfully. And I said, you can do whatever you like with us, but do not disrespect the families, and that's all I ever ask for, and that's all they worry about is to make sure that the families are happy, and I don't mind that. I love that.
And that comes through really, really clear. The respect that you have for the family, for the one that has passed away. And it just makes us comfortable knowing that what we are going to be shown is going to be done in a respectful ways. I know some people are a bit scared of seeing dead bodies, but you do it in such a beautiful way. And we, as Polynesians, are so used to seeing bodies and being with bodies that we have taught the rest of New Zealand and the rest of the world how to live with our ones who have passed on, and I love that.
Correct. You're quite right. People say and it's mainly the Palangi people or the people from other countries. They say, Francis, thank you for enlightening us, but in fact it's not Francis, it's actually us Maori and Pacific Island people. That's the way we do funerals. We're very communal, we do things together, and if we haven't seen the body in a casket, so we can physically touch and kiss, it's not the same. It's very different if we're not able to do that. And so for us, I people always acknowledge and say thank you, Francis, but in fact I think my upbringing, I think us as a Pacific people, as a Maori people. That's just the way we do it. And we, not just me, but we all have taught a lot of people how to grieve properly.
Yes. You were saying when we started that you started off the business, it was a small business. People who watch reality TV think that what you do is all set up. It's a stage. You're in a big. And people from America, before borders closed, were very, very surprised to come and actually find out that you were actually a real funeral and there were no actors playing any characters.
No, before the borders closed, man, we would be having a funeral in our chapel downstairs, or dressing a loved one, and the Americans would walk in, and they would be like, "Oh my God," like, is this real? And the receptionist, she'd had enough. She'd be, "Oh, they keep coming here," but after explaining to them it was a real funeral home, and it serves real loved ones and people that have died, they couldn't believe it. So it is, yeah, you're quite right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we all relate to it, but I guess for Americans, they never thought it would be something that could ever happen to show real stuff.
Yes.
funeral.
And the business is definitely growing. I understand you're opening up a home in Wellington.
Yes, yes, down in Porirua, we've got a little just being the funeral home's being fitted out at the moment on Kenepuru Drive, and so we're very excited. You know, my wife and I attempted to go and move down there. We go down there nearly every week for the alterations of the building and setting it up, and it's a nice place to be. To be honest with you, the lifestyle down there is beautiful, and we really look forward to being down there. We rent a home down there because we'll be spending a lot of time, us and our staff, down in Porirua until we train and build up the staff down there. And then we'll be back and forth. But yes, it is an exciting time. Nerve wracking because we never know what's going to happen. But if we don't give it a go, we'll never know. So we thought we'd try it out.
Absolutely. What an amazing philosophy. And yes, please, Francis, if you are going to have Tipene homes in Porirua, Wellington on Kenepuru Drive, we need you to be there.
Yeah, thank you.
We
Yes,
are
and
going to
that's
have to clone you so that we in Wellington don't think, why don't we get Francis?
no. That's why we've got a home. So my wife and I will alternate to be down there, up and down, and so thankful that as long as our levels stay the same with the alert levels, then we'll be able to fly up and down and drive up and down. So that's the main thing for everything to take place. But thank you, Eti. You're
Well,
quite right.
Francis, thank you so much. I know how busy you are, but you have made time for us, and for that, we appreciate so much. We look forward to having you in Wellington, and we will get hold of the landlord and tell them to sell you the house instead of renting it out.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Kia ora koutou. Thank you.
Kia ora koe. Thank you so much. That is the star of the Casketeers, Francis Tipene. What a joy it is to have